All right, what is going on? Um, I started an earlier stream, but I couldn't get things figured out, so closed it, started a new one. But anyways, it's gonna be a stream about just me working on some Buzzcut stuff. So for those of you who don't know, Buzzcut is an app I'm working on. It's a Flutter-based app, and it's mainly for people with intercom systems, like in condos and apartments. That like kind of you press buttons and like it calls a person's phone number. So I live in a condo. That happened to me, and I find that kind of annoying. So I built Buzzcut, which kind of generates its own number that you can give to the concierge and then replace that in the buzzer system, so that it doesn't really call your personal phone number anymore. It calls this like Buzzcut VoIP number, which from there you can like automate and control stuff. So that's what Buzzcut is. We're currently so most of it's implemented. So we have like a standard tier, which is $4.99 a month. But we realize it's a little expensive for some people that might be interested in the features but don't want to pay $5. So I'm trying to create a community tier, which we're trying to roll out at least at $2. And the way it kind of works in the background is because a phone number costs me like $1.15, and then Apple takes their cut and Google takes their cut. I can't really do it for less than like 199 and not really make money. But what I realize is if with community, you can kind of share phone numbers between people as long as they're not in the same building. So part of the community tier is it'll kind of ask for your address, and then from there you can kind of hash or kind of create an algorithm where you can assign people that don't live in the same building to kind of use the same number, because you kind of know what their number is and where they kind of operate out of. So that's kind of the premise of how the community tier would work, and yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to work on. So that's what this is. Let me kind of jump back into it. So let me open up. Sorry, let me just open up a new terminal. Oh, I was kind of messing around with some features here. Doo-doo-doo-doo. CD, Buzzcut, API. So yeah, this is all on Fast API and Uvicoin. I'm just gonna keep this off screen so I don't clutter the screen. But yeah, it's all on Uvicoin and Fast API. So that's the back end, and the front end is all Flutter. It's all hosted on Azure, and our database is um, Firebase, as you can't tell from here, but you can probably see in some places. Anyways, let's go back to the API I had. So I have Postman open right here, and as you can see, kind of have a function. So a lot of this is, I'll be honest, I did vibe code a lot of this. Um, it just makes you, I guess, a little more productive, but at the same time, it doesn't really follow best practices. So you kind of end up with a mess in the end of the day, but we'll allow it. Yeah, so that's clearly a function that doesn't exist, but we might want to incorporate that at some point. Let's just at least try to get this into. Okay, so let's ignore the lat long stuff. Community, we're city. Okay, so let's kind of, before I dive into this, by the way, I'm resuming code that I've like touched in a couple months now, so I don't really remember a lot of this stuff. But if I think about how I'm gonna do this, pull out maybe draw.io. pull that up here. The way that I think I should do this is basically, well, right now we have a kind of a group ID. Group ID, which links to a bunch of like group stuff. So this kind of tells me everything about the. So basically, numbers are kind of groups, whereas in like a user is a group. A user belongs to a group, but your buzzer itself is one group. So your buzzer code associates with one group, and then most people just have one. Like for me, I just have one user under one group. You can have two users under one group, but they all kind of control. So a group is a buzzer. And the point here is, so right now we have group, and then we have users. So we have a user ID, which has like all your user stuff, like your name and whatever. So right now, it's kind of a one-to-many relationship, so multiple users can be a part of a group, and ideally what we're trying to implement is multiple groups can be under a collection, or not a collection, I guess a collection, a community. That's a better word, because that's kind of what we're calling our tiers, so it makes sense. Can be under a community. They will have their own endpoint, so if you're not in a community, there's no reason to build a community. So community is only for people in the community tier. Yeah, so if I think of community as a collection, keys in a collection, we're gonna have a community ID, which I guess is how we identify all these communities. Community ID. We're gonna kind of want some kind of city or like where they belong. So let's call that like city, I guess. Yeah, we'll keep track of city. We also want like a list of all the addresses so that we know who's currently in the community and who we can't really allow in the community. And then we probably also want to have all the group IDs that are in here. I think that makes sense for now, so we kind of want to keep track of all four of these. Right now, I'm not going to create the assignment algorithm, so when you create a new, like when you join a new community, like I don't want it to kind of decide which community you belong to just yet. Yeah, we'll kind of do we'll just right now create a new community for each person that wants to join. Alright, so let's jump back in. I'm just gonna wipe all this out, to be honest. I think a lot of this I kind of forgot how this works. What kind of can we keep this for at least maybe? We don't need that yet. Let me keep the accepts, sorry. Wipe that stuff out again. And what? Oh, it's because this is okay. So for doc and community docs. Okay, so we're creating a new doc where city. No, we don't need a where here. What? Yeah. Community doc. Why is this a for loop? Hold on. I kind of have to refresh myself with all this stuff in the bottom here. So let's kind of go through maybe a create trigger. Yeah, we can just create one. Let me kind of use this as a template, sorry. It's been like a minute since I even touched any of this stuff, so excuse me if I don't have the biggest recollection. Community. What that? Create. Let's call this create new community. Yeah, so we want collection ID, which is kind of part of here, so how do you get the ID? I guess you don't really need it if it's... So if we go back here, this is technically what the folder itself is called, so we can just jump into city. City equals just a city. In terms of group IDs, it's gonna be tricky because right now we kind of create at this stage of the app. We're actually, so let me log out. We're not log out, but I guess this is part of the onboarding process where we haven't even created a group yet. So it's gonna be tricky to create a community number if you don't really have a group ID yet. So how do you go about this? We can do user IDs, but I don't want to. Hold on. Create group. So yeah, so a group is kind of created here, and we wanted to return create group data. Let me pull up the Buzzcut app. Because right now this is the back end. So create group data. Pull up here. We're kind of creating the group data here. What stage of the process is this even in? Oh, no, actually, no, we would have a group data at this point, sorry. Yeah, so this is before the payment. So you would have a group before the payment, actually. What we don't do, though, is actually log this. So what we might have to do is... Where are we calling... Buzzer. What's the onboarding page called? Buzzer setup page. Buzzer setup page. Yeah, so you might want to pass that. Oh, it's right below it. I'm stupid. Okay. Yeah, so you might want to pass the group ID in there as well. Group ID. Yeah, let's get the response from this. How do you... I guess this is just const, yeah. Const response. What? Sorry, I'm kind of newbie to how Dart does all this. Hold on. Might actually have to bust out some Google. Or actually ChatGPT it, fuck it. I guess final. Just use final response. There we go. Should be response dot group ID, I guess. For some reason we don't notice. Get a value from, so what does return? Big group ID, get a property. That's not a return. Oh, this is a void. Shit. That's why. So we don't need these, we don't need these. Storing progress. Why am I returning a map entry? This is like one of those moments where you don't even remember what you coded. Let's return string, maybe. If value is string. Value of what? Oh, shit, okay. Group data that. Oh, but it does return. Hold on. Why did it just return? ChatGPT is too. Return. Return, I guess how am I doing this? This user token, got a final actually while we're here. And then final group ID. Response data. Not response data, just response. Group ID. I probably want to JSON decode that. Response data. Decode response.body. Perfect. Okay. And then return group ID. Otherwise, for these ones, return null. Return null. Oh, is this the return void? String. Now that we're here, we get the group ID. We don't need this stuff. And we just send the group ID. In terms of the buzzer, let's also add final string group ID. And at least at this point we have it in this page so that we can send it to where we need to go. Why is this red? Is this red the whole time? I have no idea where this red. Okay. Anyways, at this point we can now assume we have the group IDs here. Oh wait, hold on. This whole time could I have just gone the group ID as from the use? Oh, I could have. Fuck. Okay, so I didn't even need to do any of that. Okay. Okay, that was a little stupid. Okay. The whole thing, I guess I just kind of realized, was that the user would have group ID. Yeah. Okay. Let's put it into a list though, because we might be appending to it in the future. And then address. Want to make it kind of a list for now, maybe. So like a. So make sure I'm kind of covering my bases. Community, city, addresses, groups, IDs. Yeah. Group IDs, addresses. Let's see. Address. Can I just do stir? I don't know if that works. Let's give it a shot. And then from there, we just kind of want to add it. So I'm kind of going back here to create group, create trigger, and yeah, I guess just set it. Let's go up here. Community ref actually. And then kind of community ref. Dot set community doc. So let's see if that works. I have this here. Cannot. You know what? Okay. I was wondering about this. So I have address models. How do I stringify this? Because I assumed you can just maybe just use that. But I don't know if that's even correct. I guess you do string address. Okay. So instead of that, I should just do. That should be fine. And we go here. Cool. Yeah, we should probably put a response, but let's see if that at least did anything in the Firebase. Also, I'm messing around with production backend. I shouldn't be doing that, so let me at least quickly test this, and then we'll move all of the shenanigans into the backend. But yep, let me make sure everything's hidden. I don't think anything's actually visible, but as you can kind of see, it creates addresses. Um, yeah, this is normally supposed to be like 15 John Street or something. So that would make sense. And then you have your group right here. Okay, cool. That I think sets up something initial that we can mess around with. I also want to quickly test because groups also has addresses, but I guess I want a quick lookup. I don't want to go into like do joins. Also, wait, it doesn't even have address actually, so that would have been useless. I think the user I'm collecting address at the user level. No, I have address at the group level as well. Maybe I guess some don't. Okay. I think that's a good platform to work off. How long am I in this? It's only been 27 minutes. Okay. How are we gonna go about here? First, let me kind of switch it up. There's probably better ways to do this renaming thing, but I'm just gonna do crowd. Just switch it out. And let's rerun the backend. Okay. Yeah, let me create a sample. I don't have any actual test accounts on my staging that I can use. So let me first of all launch this app in staging, sign up on an account, and then and why not? Okay, what is happening? CD. Where's volumes? Is it before this? Yeah, if you must know, all my code is kind of in a external hard drive because I ran out of space on my main drive, so that's why I'm always finicking around when it comes to all this stuff. But let's see, affix disk, yeah, class cd Buzzcut app, and then if I do run staging, I should have it. And it should be able to wirelessly find my, you know what, I have my USB cable here when I just use USB. There we go. Let it run staging. I think the backend at least is running now, right? Do I have? That's over here, but yeah, as you can see, it's running now. Just give me a second to open up the app in staging, and then I'll quickly create an account test on that, and then we can use that for developing the rest of this feature. Because I don't want to keep poking around in production data. But yeah, it's weird coming back to all this like YouTube stuff because I'm not like I've never been really too big on YouTube or anything, but like I used to at least try a lot. So I'm used to like having stressing a lot about YouTube, but I think for me, I think I'm just not into like the whole planning a video, like building a script, all that stuff. So I'm just gonna maybe try streaming. I think it helps motivate me to code a little more. Cause outside of this, especially, okay, what is happening here? I thought I saw an error. Oh, Jesus. There we go. Um, yeah, because outside of this, I wouldn't like I've been at this for like a couple weeks now. Like I've been trying to get back to coding, but I think ever since you start a gap, it's hard to get back into it unless you have like some accountability, and that's kind of why I started going to like coffee shops and cafes and trying to like do my work out publicly so I can kind of have that accountability. But maybe this is like a source of accountability for me too, so I might start doing this instead. And that way I can kind of share how I build Buzzcut along the way. Um, Buzzcut isn't going to be open source, but I guess I'm going to be sharing snippets of code and you can kind of see how messy it is and stuff like that. But I'm not going to be open sourcing it or anything, so yeah. I do have plans for a free tier though. So right now I'm working on a cheaper tier, which is the community tier, which is gonna be $1.99. The free tier, I think the differentiator there is just gonna be it's gonna auto answer. So a lot of people I spoke to, they don't really care about the bells and whistles. They just want like something that if you call it, I'll just answer. Like it won't deny or it doesn't need any logic or anything. And that seems like it's pretty easy because then you just need one number. Because for example, community is kind of building different communities in the sense that that way if you share a community number with a group and you call from a certain number, you kind of know it's part of that, it's for that specific group. But if you do it on the free tier and you only have one number, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't know who you are because it's just going to be doing the same action regardless, right? So that's kind of why I want to still build both. So my initial idea was maybe I'll like ditch community tier altogether, but I think community is going to still be useful for someone. It's still going to be useful for like, it's going to have its own logic and functionality, whereas the free tier is more logic less. It's kind of just, it'll approve anybody. You can't really decide who approves or what it approves. Community will have that, so it's closer to standard tier. But I think the main differentiator for standard and community is going to be the call forwarding feature. At least for now. I don't know. I've been also thinking about like maybe restricting how many actions or how many buzzes you can do. But then you kind of have like get into like the what happens if they run out of their threshold, because I don't want to like lock people out of their apartments if they can't pay it or can't upgrade, and then I don't want to like risk their lives by like auto approving everyone if they can't. So that's one of those things where I don't think I'm gonna do the threshold just because it kind of has this weird moral thing you have to kind of decide between now. What is that blue thing? That's from shells. So yeah, that's kind of my train of thought right now. Okay, the app is launching. I guess I'll kind of show you because no one's really seen this on the YouTube videos yet. So that's the kind of, would it clear up? That is the splash screen. It's gonna be a little longer than usual because it's, um, yeah, whatever it says there. I guess mainly because it's like installing it from scratch. Mhm. Staging is basically just my dev, by the way. So I know some of you might be wondering why is it called staging and not dev. It's just because in my old company, we kind of we didn't we used to have a dev. We also had a staging, but then staging became dev. So it's kind of an homage to that, I guess, in a weird way. There might be an opportunity for a third environment in the future, but right now staging is dev. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna auto log me in because I. Okay, so let's see. Maybe I'll just create the same credentials so that I don't get confused. Sorry, I'm just signing up. For anyone that's just tuning in, I'm just signing up to staging so that I have an account that I can use to spoof the auth with. All right. And whoops. What am I doing? Yep. Okay. So now that I have a token, let us go to test YC. I guess let me log in so I can get that. What was the API again? Post body. Okay, so we got our auth. I put that in the postman. And now should give us the same response, yep. And let's check the other Firebase now, which is their staging Firebase. And yep, sure enough, we get kind of the same thing. There we go. So that is, first of all, that's not my address. So you might have noticed my address, but it's also kind of the company name. So I'm not too worried about that getting out there. But yeah, that's not my address. Anyways, first of all, we want to probably call this communities. Communities. Alright, and then now the logic is kind of like if. So this kind of creates a new one. But if there is a city that already has, I guess if there's a community that is in your city and it is far enough away from your city, or sorry, and it's far enough away from your place, add that to your city. So I think so we'll kind of tackle them separately, but the main thing I was looking at is like address is going to be at least 2 kilometers away or 1 kilometer away. I think 1 kilometer should be fine, but I don't know how the crow distance is gonna work, so we'll see. But at least first right now, let's just kind of use city logic. So I want to kind of get it first. How would I do this? Let's see if I want to do like a where. Sorry, I'm like looking at my old code just because I keep forgetting how to do stuff like this. Like even just the simple stuff like using Firebase. I'm so very like keep forgetting how it works, but say existing communities. Communities where city equals city. Alright, so this should ideally be a list of every community in your city. If there is no, oh, actually, also we also want it to be less than 5 people. How do you do that on Firebase? Like, can you do like len at? Kind of pull up ChatGPT again. It's suggesting maintain a separate property. So I guess we can do that. Let's call it member count. Member count. I guess by default it's gonna be 1. And then dot where member count is less than 5. Is that how that works? No, I don't think so. Shit, what am I doing? It's like that. I guess so. Oh, he says to get them, I guess, at the end. We don't even want it to be equal. Less than 5. And then get. Let me just manually add member count to the other one, so we don't have to. Member count 1. Okay. Let's just see if we can print existing communities. Let's not generate a new one yet, so comp that out. Where is my super suit? No, I'm kidding. Here it is. Just prefer using filter. The query requires an index. Oh, let's create an index. Let us create an index. Alright, give it a second to build. But I think this should be fine. I don't know what 6. Okay. Alright, so assuming this is good, once we get it, we want to just add a group ID. So we can kind of just use that logic over here. But we do have to pick one. Should we just, is there a way to get just one, actually? Or do we just have to pick from a list? That's not what I was trying to show. Yeah, I guess we can just add limit 1. Limit 1. Actually, no. At least for the sake, let's just do limit 1. And then if existing communities dot docs is not empty, I guess I'll put that here. You know, instead of doing the limit 1 actually, because we might have to do calculations. Sorry, what did I do? JavaScript bracket there. Let's do final doc equals existing communities dot docs dot first. Hold on, this is not how I'm mixing up stuff. I'm sorry. This is in JS. So we'll just do results equal existing communities string. If doc results. Now if you can do if docs. Print doc. Sorry, print doc. Okay. Else. No matching doc. Okay. I think that makes sense. Let's see where our indexing is at. It's enabled. Let's try running this again. Let me actually return these, maybe, so that we can see it. Return. No matching doc. Why is that, good sir? Okay. Print doc at this point. Let's just see what's happening behind the scenes. I just put it all here so we can all see. Doc is none. Is it? No, I don't think it has anything like that, but let's try. Yeah. Oh, hold on. It's because, okay, I know why. It's because communities is still empty, so because I renamed that folder. So if can I just rename it here? Communities. Yep. Let me just actually delete that. I guess you can't. Alright, so let me remove this whole logic right now just so I can create a new community and then I can test it with that. Bring this back up. Alright. Do we have a new communities entry? No, we don't. Oh, I removed this side as well. Hopefully that works. And yep, I have a communities, same entry with the member count as well. Just gonna remove that for now. Undo all that. And now when I run it, I get internal server error. Perfect. What's happening here? Oh, some deadlock stuff. Is it because I'm printing it? Maybe it's because I'm printing it. How would I structure it if I'm not printing it? I guess let me just print the ID maybe. Oh, okay, perfect. Let's check if that's correct. Yeah, that's the ID. So what I'm gonna try maybe is just to make sure it can handle multiple. Well, I guess we're just getting the first one here, so it doesn't matter. Cool. Okay. Just curious, but how are these stored? Yeah, I guess they're kind of stored as streams. Okay, cool. We kind of have something here. Um, Eventually, at this point, I would assume we can just update. And yeah, I'm just gonna. Well, it's almost 9 right now. How long have I been streaming? 56 minutes. Um, Not a long time, granted, but let's. I did want to go to the gym, so probably gonna end the stream here. But nice chilling here, I guess. I'll try to do this as regularly as I can. Uh, but yeah, I might even do one after the gym. To be honest, I might just continue working on this, but at least for a bit. Let me just go to the gym, unwind for a bit, and we'll continue a stream. Peace.